F1 2026, the rules that change everything. What if I told you that the rules for Formula One are about to undergo a seismic shift? That's right, we're talking about the year 2026, where F1 is set to undergo a complete overhaul that will change everything. In this video, we'll be exploring the revolutionary new technologies and regulations that will shape the future of the sport. So, sit back, buckle up, and get ready for a wild ride into the world of F1 2026. Improved environmental sustainability. 2026 promises a new age in terms of eco-friendliness for the sport. F1 is already heavily involved with sustainable measures, taking the time to upgrade a lot of the materials used over the course of a season. One particularly good one is E10 fuel, which was introduced in 2022. It's a totally eco-friendly fuel type, effectively reducing Formula One's waste on the environment. Currently, E10 uses 90% fossil fuels combined with 10% renewable ethanol. For 2026, the new fuel type is aimed at creating 100% sustainability in the sport. The change has brought on the idea of a 100% sustainable, synthetic fuel type to the sport. Now with these new fuel regulations, teams won't be expected to modify their car engines in order to use them effectively. The fuel will be made from municipal waste, biomass, and a carbon capture system. The net positive will be from teams saving over 65% of their greenhouse gas emissions in comparison to regular petrol fuel. With aero changes included for 2026, an estimate of 20 to 25% of fuel load used will be greatly reduced. This will make cars more fuel efficient. Electrical energy will also come into the forefront of what it takes to run an F1 car. That change further reduces the weight of the car by ensuring that it carries less fuel and runs a smaller fuel tank. Chassis update. A big concern has been discussed surrounding the size of the recent Formula One cars. Many have expressed concerns about the heavier designs, especially when it comes to track limits in certain circuits. The main circuit that seems to have lost its flair with modern F1 cars is Monaco. The Monaco GP is a shadow of what it once was, thanks to these bulky modern cars. With new regulations, the FIA aims to restore Formula One cars to their previous reputation. Back in 2008, F1 cars were around 580 kilograms, but now they weigh a minimum of 798 kilograms, which is pretty heavy to handle. The total weight includes when the driver and tires are added. However, a fully loaded fuel ramps that weight up all the way to 908 kilograms in certain teams. For the 2026 season and beyond, the goal is to make F1 cars a lot smaller and lighter. The current solution involves advanced aerodynamics. One area they hope to focus on is drag reduction. With drag reduction, future F1 cars will run in two modes, low drag mode and high drag mode. For the low drag mode, the low downforce will help cars move faster along the straights in a similar way to the current DRS system. With the high downforce mode, cars will carry a lot of drag, but be snappier in the corners. To further push innovations, new cars are set to be made of more reusable materials. Currently, cars are made out of sustainable parts, but with the introduction of reusable parts, it's possible for the costly replacement of parts to come with a silver lining. Currently, a few teams have already introduced some sustainable aspects to the design of their cars. One solid example is McLaren, a team that has eco-friendly driver seats made from carbon fiber. Engine redesign. One thing that has screwed up the chances of new manufacturers joining F1 is the engines. Currently, there are only 4 engine manufacturers in the sport that is occupied by 10 constructors. The reason behind this is the difficulty of power unit manufacturing. Not just any team can do it, and if they do decide to engage in this process, the most cost-effective solution is to build engines for other teams in exchange for a price. Even more complicated, not all engine units are the same in terms of performance. Therefore, it makes sense to simplify the process and make it more lucrative to join the sport as an engine manufacturer. The current idea revolves around removing the MGUH engine part. The MGUH is an incredibly expensive and complex part for an engine kit, and it is only really usable in Formula One. None of the manufacturers have a way to convert its design into road cars, making it especially tedious to manufacture. An MGUH's main purpose is to convert heat in the car into electric energy for the battery. To make this engine update stick, the goal is to increase the hybrid power of another component, the MGU-K. This will increase the car's electrical power to 350 kilowatts, making it difficult to drop its performance. For current F1 seasons, the budget cap lies at around $140 million, but engine suppliers are allowed to create that component without an upper limit. In new engine regulations, a budget cap of $140 million will be placed for all teams. As for newcomers, an additional $5 or $10 million will be presented in order for them to catch up successfully. Crash prevention strategies. Safety has always been a priority concern for the FIA. In the current landscape, F1 cars are safer than they have ever been, even arguably safer than a lot of road cars. However, the FIA is still not very comfortable with certain aspects of the safety protocol. One area they hope to address is in car traffic, particularly when they are in close proximity at high speeds. The FIA tends to introduce a sort of communication between all cars on the grid. The intent is to make it possible to alert a driver if another car is facing a movement fault. That way, a driver can execute an appropriate reaction in time. The actual crashes are also getting a rework in the 2026 regulations. With smaller cars, there's a higher risk of causing severe damage to the driver. For example, the Zhao Guanyu crash from Silverstone in 2022 was a very dangerous and severe one to witness. However, the presence of a roll hoop helped ensure his helmet and head were saved from any severe consequences. More strategic races. The current design of Formula 1 mainly revolves around using DRS at the right time and trying not to ruin your tires. While that explanation is an oversimplification, this is basically how things have become. For F1 to be more exciting in the future, new regulations are going to be investigated. First of all, the removal of the MGU-H will create a fundamentally different type of control for F1 cars. Drivers and strategists will not be as comfortable with attacking and delaying pressure against forerunners. Instead, biding their time to find the right moment for a move will become more important. With more electrical power from the MGU-K, it's possible that teams might need to avoid overheating the car's battery, so strategic battles will be crucial for gaining positions in a race. Will the 2026 rules make a difference? The FIA seems pretty excited about what the future holds for Formula 1, and as fans, we can't help but feel the excitement radiate. As a sport that thrives on innovation, this push for zero carbon by 2030 is nothing short of amazing. However, there's a major concern that comes with all this. Is F1 becoming a cooler Formula E? If so, is that a bad thing? Formula E is popularly disliked by a lot of conventional F1 fans, but if the FIA is willing to keep the raw and powerful engines in F1, there's no doubt that races will still feel just as powerful as they did in the 2000s. As the pinnacle of motorsports engineering, it's not only exciting to imagine what the future holds, it's also great for the planet. Thanks for tuning into our video on the F1 2026 rules. If you're hungry for more F1 content, don't forget to check out the next video where we'll be exploring the 7 craziest F1 commercials ever. From Red Bull's insane stunts to the Lotus's truck jump ads, you won't want to miss it. So hit the subscribe button and turn on the notifications to be the first to know when our next video drops. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.